It's 2024, and we finally have the final hero spoiled for the Heavy Hitters set, and spoiler alert, it's Victor Goldmane. Yeah, it's not Valda, but it's actually Victor Goldmane. Let's talk about the new guy. So I'll be honest, I actually thought it was going to be Valda. We had the symmetry of it all, the crew heroes coming back in their adult forms, but instead we got this guy, this pompous jerk. And Victor Goldmane High and Mighty is actually quite cool in my opinion, because the first time each turn you create a gold token from an effect that you control, you get to draw a card. So you're creating a gold token off of an effect, you're playing into it, you're drawing a card. Now, of course, we're playing as a Guardian, so we're less likely to have go again and then to make use of that, but that doesn't mean that you are not going to have it via something like the agility token that you could possibly create in this set, or that you could just build the deck around it to maybe have some go again and wager mechanics in there to create some gold. But you are drawing a card which could just end up being a really good arsenal card, and it's basically like a gold piece that can draw you a secondary card later down the line if you want to pay into it to draw up. So it's like this weird, like, it replaces itself based on what you're playing out to get the gold, and then the gold almost acts as like an expensive card draw as well. It's kind of cool in that respect, but it gets even better when you look at the next effect. The first time each turn you would fail to win a clash. A clash is where you and your opponent reveal the top card of the deck. Whoever has the card with the higher attack will win the clash. If you fail to win that clash, instead you can destroy one of your gold, and if you do, you can put one of the revealed cards on the bottom of its owner's deck and then clash again. So you basically just get a do-over. He pays to get a do-over. And there have been many memes floating around in social media about this hero already. Basically just pay to win. That is essentially what Victor Goldmane has become. But I think it's a really cool mechanic that encourages you to do some really cool like wagering and trying to get gold and then clashing. And I like the idea of there being a hero that is all about the top of your opponent's deck and your deck and having stronger cards. It fits synergistically with what Guardian already wants to do, and it makes Victor Goldmane a very meta-dependent hero. He could be very good depending on, first of all, if there are a lot of low attack heroes and classes in the meta, for example, Ninja or Illusionist, or heck, I mean, you're playing a Guardian, you already have a lot of big strong attacks, so you can even look at stuff like Brute sometimes, and you could maybe more consistently beat them. But particularly the lower attack classes, even Runeblade to some degree, if those heroes are permeating the meta, all of a sudden Victor Goldmane might just ride in on his like stupid horse with his stupid shiny armor and all of his gold and just win the day because he has the ability to create gold and maybe have some sort of an engine that he can set up. But I will say one thing. I am incredibly excited and terrified of Miller's Grindstone, the weapon that was spoiled with him. Keep in mind, this is a one-handed hammer, and if you could somehow give it go again or gain an action point off of it, does agility token apply to it? I think it does. And they put the agility token right here. Okay, your next attack, yeah. So with an agility token, god dang, you go away for a week and then everything falls apart. The Grindstone could be granted go again, if you will, with the agility token, which means you could swing 2 of these hammers at a time. And every time you do, this is a Guardian weapon that attacks for 4, which is a really disgusting breakpoint. Why do Guardians get all the best weapons with all the best breakpoints and all the best cards? And why are there 14 Guardians in the game and like 2 wizards? I don't know. Someone answer that question for me. But when this hits a hero, you clash with them. So again, you both reveal the top card of your deck, and if you win, destroy the top card of their deck. And if they win, you put a -1 counter on this. So in other words, this weapon gets 1 weaker for the rest of the game, or they lose a card from their deck. And what's more likely to happen is that they lose a card from their deck because you're Victor Goldmane, dang it, and you have big strong attacks. Which leads me to believe, like, first of all, this is a rare weapon, and this has me incredibly excited about this set in particular because it reminds me of how the weapons felt and perhaps the weapons will feel within the set in Crucible of War, which is my favorite set. It is maybe starting to slip off a little bit because I'm really starting to like Dynasty and Arcane Rising a little bit more. But in that set, you had some amazing weapon options, and they were really exciting, and they made you build the decks differently, and this makes me think that we might get a bunch of that. And of course, it's been said that there are going to be a ton of weapons, but Miller's Grindstone points us to one possible play pattern of us being defensive with sort of standard Guardian affair, where you just get a lot of the Guardian block threes, and you just kind of jam all these big nasty things like, where is it, like buckling blows, like all the blue sixes basically. You just jam all of these in there, your blue eights, and with all those big old beefy attacks, you can kind of guarantee that this weapon is going to flip all of those in the mid to late game. And if you are flipping those in the mid to late game, you're starting to just mill your opponent out. Or I like the term grind your opponent out. We're going to change milling, which is a Magic the Gathering term, to grinding for Flesh and Blood, because it also worked for grinding gears. That was a fun little shout out. I think, did Tommy Fresh make that on Twitter? I don't know. Let me know in a comment below if you know if that was Tommy Fresh, but I loved it. I put the heart on it and everything. But that's one way you could build this. The other way you could build this is more aggressively. I think he's leaning right now more towards the defensive sort of capabilities, and they spoiled a card for him. And let's go over here. They spoiled a card for him alongside of him, and it's a card that to me isn't the flashiest, not the Golden Sun. We'll look at that in just a second. They spoiled this card right about here, stacked in your favor, which again leads you to believe that it's being very defensive in nature, because this is a 2-cost aura that sits out in the field that draws itself a card when the next turn starts, and then you put a card from your hand on top of your deck. So it basically, this kind of replaces itself, hand fixes, but doesn't really get you the next, like another card. But what it does do is it makes your attack action cards get +3 while defending, which is basically what several cards back in the day in WTR did, and they were not very good. Maybe this will be better. I don't know. Maybe this will be better. But they also showed off Golden Sun, which is his specialization. It's a 4 for 7, attacks for 7. And it says, as an additional cost to play this, you to destroy a gold you control. And if you do, this gets +3, so it goes up to 10 and overpower. And when you win a clash revealing this, create a gold token. So even if it's on top of your deck and it flips, and you win that clash because this is 7, and that's a really likely eventuality, you get a gold token, and that is quite cool. And then you can draw into this, and then you can play this, and when you do, after you've like drawn into this and played this, you can destroy the gold that this created off the top, and it gets 10 damage and overpower, and that's pretty beefy in general. So you could play this more aggressively as well. Again, though they showed off this card Boast, this gets +X defense while defending, where X is twice the number of clashes you've won this turn. This feels like a course correction almost for a defensive, grindy hero, and one that players are naturally not supposed to like. This is like course correction for Oldhim. Basically what I'm trying to say. This is basically Oldhim reprinted in a way that's probably a little bit more balanced, because you're having to build like sort of these subpar perhaps blocking cards. We'll see if they're subpar blocking cards. You have to build some of those in. But all of these cards allude to him being able to clash on your turn and your opponent's turn. And we do know that the clash keyword is tucked onto a lot of other generic blocks like this, for example, which you can use throughout your opponent's defense, through your opponent's offense and your defense, of course. You can use those, which can trigger his clash effect multiple times, and then you can stack up. So you can even do a combo with him wherein you stack up all these gold tokens defensively, and then you start cycling through, cracking the gold tokens and maybe digging for cards that you care about, or pitch stacking. But I think this right here is the where this is pointing. It's where he's headed. Grinding out games and being very annoying with his smug, stupid face. So let me know what you think about Victor Goldmane. Let me know what you think about him in a comment below. I want to hear from you, because now we know all 6 heroes. And if you want my opinion on all 6 heroes, then check out our stream on Thursday. We're going to be streaming me, Breezy, and TCG Talk. We're going to talk about all the heroes and how they could play into each other within this set. And I am very excited for this set. If it's anything like Crucible of War and WTR, I think it's going to be a banger. of a limited and constructed set. If you enjoy this video, make numbers go slightly higher, because in 2024, I want to see that number go up. I don't know why. It would just be fun. As always, thanks for watching.